Right, where are we going this morning?
Today, Lee, we are going to see Divergent. Why are we going to see Divergent? Well, they're a relatively new management company, and they, in particular, look after Black Pearl, an award-winning triple-masted, square-rigged, 107-metre long new build out of Ocean Cove, particularly to put as many eco-aware, sustainable, and regenerative powering solutions in. So that boat's now launched. There's been lots of coverage on that. But it's also interesting because it's an ongoing daily project to be the manager of that boat and provide the shore-based support.
Now it's huge, right?
Pardon?
It's a huge boat.
Well, it's 107 metres. You wouldn't want to drop it on your foot, would you? Here we are.
Chin chin.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers. See, it's not
Nice
just
meeting
me
you.
toasting in the morning.
No,
We should have some alcohol in there though, shouldn't we? We should have a bit of brandy or something in it.
Bloody Marys would be where it's at. So, in case you hadn't guessed, we're at Divergent Yachting.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Good to see you guys.
With their mugs
And ladies.
half full.
So Divergent Yachting is one of the newest jewels in the stellar crown of super yacht management companies. Does that sound...
Sounds wonderful,
Sounds
mate.
wonderful.
You should keep going on that.
So, well, let's get to the simple stuff. What exactly does a company like Divergent Yachting do? What is the role?
Right,
within
so
the
we're
industry?
a yacht management company, and we manage Black Pearl and two other boats, motorboat, 110 metres and 79 metres. And we do all the ISM certification for the crew and the boats and everything else, and we have an accounts team and the crew team, and Dave, who's just snuck in. But
He's tell the camera, look, over there.
Hi, Dave.
There he is.
Come on back.
You can come and sit at your desk if you want, mate.
Dave didn't get the memo about filming today.
There's coffee.
Much less violent.
Last time I was on TV, it was Crime Watch.
Dave, we don't tell everyone that.
Talk about it.
And yeah, we just offer a full management service. We don't do any brokerage, we don't do any charter stuff, it's purely management.
You're non-controversial.
Yeah. And,
But
and
there's a
within
surprising
that,
number of companies that are doing this now. There's quite a lot of, and they're small and they're focused on supporting the owner and the captain in delivering operational success, if you like.
yeah,
But
we
the
see
trans-
ourselves more as a yacht crew support company than a management company. We don't tell people what to do, but we work very, very closely with the captains on all the boats.
And how long have you been in the business?
I've been in the business for about 32 years.
32 years.
So yacht consultancy, which is what I was before,
Yeah.
built Black Pearl and 13 other boats.
I don't know if anybody's heard of Black Pearl. You familiar with the boat? It's reasonably large.
Yeah.
107
that little
metre.
one that popped
Yeah.
up a couple
Aside
of-
from being big and a sailboat, what's the thing that's kind of special about Black Pearl?
The green,
The greenness.
the greenness.
The small eco footprint.
Small,
The
exactly.
sustainability.
Exactly. So we just sailed from Poland to Amsterdam, Gdansk to Amsterdam. I think we ran the generators for 3 hours. The rest of it was zero fossil fuel.
You did a trip across the Atlantic, didn't you? Where
No,
you
we're
doing-
we're planning to do a trip across the Atlantic, zero fossil fuel.
So
the-
this is really just to prove that you can do it.
Yeah, that's running all systems. So, you know, fridge, freezers, laundry, everything will run at the same time, but we'll generate our own power through the props
Shafts,
and
yeah.
the shafts and use the batteries and sail. And so as soon as she does about 11, 12 knots, we're creating enough power on board to run all the systems.
And you were involved in building it.
Yeah, I was the owner's rep for the whole build. So I've been in touch with that particular vessel for 7 years.
So how many people overall worked on that vessel during the course of the build? Yards, subcontractors, the rest of it?
Well, we had one day where there was, how many days? 300 and something plus on board at one day just before finishing.
308 people on board.
Yeah,
No.
On board?
yeah, that was just during the finishing stages. So in total, like 500, 700. It depends how far you look into all the companies that were
Yeah,
employed,
yeah.
you know. The rig guys had 100 people working for them, it's the same with any large project though. If you look through the whole project and all the subcontractors, the industry for one project employs hundreds, thousands of people.
Well, this is,
So-
I mean, the thing with that boat is that I know from the little world I was in
there was about 10-15 people involved in doing the design work for the product we were supplying, correct?
All right.
We're not talking about that.
Okay.
Politics and lighting, we don't
Right.
talk about.
Okay. Right. Okie dokie.
But we are popping to see Lateral later on, around about 12:30 today.
Yeah. So they had a lot to do with, well, Lateral didn't, but BMT at the time.
Yeah.
They had a lot to do with the Naval Architecture engineering of Black Pearl. So they work for Ocean Co and do their design engineering stuff. So Ocean Co would sub that out to someone else.
I think this is what's quite, I know there's a double-edged sword of Ocean Co having no real employees. They subcontract it all out.
Yeah.
But it does involve so many other
Thousands of
businesses
people.
around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
It's a
It
model
does.
that a lot of shipyards are employing. Many
Yeah.
shipyards are populated by subcontractors. Somebody's doing the AV, somebody's doing the paint, somebody's doing the interior, somebody's doing the air conditioning. You know, there's very few things. I mean, even the fabrication work is often done by a different shipyard.
Yeah.
So there's fabrication work being done in Poland and Romania and places like that, and then it's being brought to Germany or Holland or whatever, and that's where the
Yeah.
vessel construction appears to be taking place. But it's a jigsaw puzzle made up out of a lot
So
of
the
different
hull,
things.
the steel part of the hull, was made in 2 different shipyards in Holland, in blocks.
2 different shipyards.
That's just the hull, and then the superstructure, the top deck, was made in Poland, and that was all put together in one of the sheds, and then towed around to Ocean Co to be finished.
I have a question for you. So you've been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
What are your other projects?
I was a captain engineer for a number of years, sailed around the world. And then I built Excellence 5, I was involved in that. I've built an Amels 458, I've built a bunch of boats in Italy. So yeah, loads.
And do you kind of like catalogue your life by project? So instead of like, you know...
So they like the milestones. that
Yeah,
you think
probably.
back to.
Probably.
'Cause I
Yeah,
always-
my wife would be really pissed off if I said
2001 was the great... What about our child? Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Did you study for any of this, or did you...
I'm an agricultural economist.
Obviously.
Yeah,
That's an agricultural economist.
yeah. So that's what I did. Studied that at Massey University in New Zealand. Then I did a year and a bit work and did the usual Kiwi OE, and I hitchhiked across Australia and Asia and ended up in Israel. And while I was in Australia, I did some racing. I mean, I grew up in the Solomon Islands, so I was sailing yachts since I was about 5. Anyway, in Australia, I did some racing. And when I was in Israel, a guy walked into the bar I was a cocktail barman in a nightclub. The guy walked into the bar and said, oh, I know you. Yeah, we raced with each other in Australia. He said, well, I've just delivered this yacht and it's going west. And I said, oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good step. So I stepped on board and went up and sailed west and didn't get paid, got my food and board. And after about 5 months on board, the owner stepped on and said, well, I've heard good things. Can you go down to South Africa and pick up the yacht and sail it north for me? And I said, well, I need to go and make some money. I haven't made any money for a while. And he wrote me a check for the 5 months' wages. And I thought, shit, I can make money in an industry that I really, really like. So I've been sailing since.
And learnt it as you went.
What a
Yeah.
cool story.
So I learned all my navigation as I went. And my first captain's job, the owner said to me, I want you to take my boat from Fort Lauderdale to Palma. Can you do that? And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. Not a problem. And I'd learned all the navigation by my captain, but no tickets. The captain had taught me and I had to do all my logging. And I said, yeah, that's all right. As soon as he walked, we had this meeting in a bar in Fort Lauderdale. As soon as he walked out of the bar, I went across the street and bought Mary Blewett's sextant navigation book. And I went and learned how to do my sextant navigation. And I employed a guy who was an ex-Navy kid who'd just stepped out and a bunch of young crew, and we sailed across the Atlantic.
Wow.
Had a great trip, and then I went and did my tickets.
What's that, back in the 80s?
Yeah.
So now, got to take the Between Two Yetis Quickfire Challenge.
Right.
Okay? Wine or beer?
What day is it?
No. Faster than that. Wine or beer?
Wine.
Football or rugby?
Rugby.
Solent or Southampton University?
Ooh. Daughters at Solent. Got to go Solent.
Lloyd's or MCA?
Lloyd's.
New build or refit?
New build.
Canoe stern or axe bow?
Not sure I like either of those, but axe bow.
Okay, and do you walk to work or do you take a packed lunch?
I take a packed lunch and I ride to work sometimes.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. That's the Quickfire Challenge.
Right.
Now we've got to start talking about why we're wearing the same badge.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
These guys get back in shot
Yeah.
now.
Coming up in Chapter 7, we head off to Sacred Land and learn about super yacht charities, who they are and what they do. Join us next time on Between Two Yetis on tour.